You found your way to Whispers of Crimes, a quiet corner where the shadows of the past are gently told. Here, we speak of real crimes and mysteries, not to shock or scare, but to wonder, to reflect, and maybe to help you fall asleep. So close your eyes, let your thoughts slow down, and come with me into tonight's case. On April 26, 2025, the Filipino community in Vancouver gathered with joy and anticipation for the Lapu Lapu Day Festival. This annual event, celebrated in honor of Filipino hero Lapu Lapu's historic stand against colonization, has grown into one of the most anticipated cultural festivals in the city. Held in the heart of the Fraser Street district, a hub of Filipino businesses and families, the festival was a celebration of resilience, pride, and shared identity. Music echoed from makeshift stages, dancers in traditional attire performed the tinikling, and the smell of pork adobo, lumpia, and halo halo filled the air. Among the main attractions was a headline appearance by Apple D, AP of the Black Eyed Peas, himself a proud Filipino. Community booths handed out free sinigang, kids played Filipino games like Patintero, and elders shared stories of migration and culture with newcomers. For the more than 20,000 people in attendance, it was a perfect evening, but that serenity shattered in an instant. Please be advised, this episode contains content that may be upsetting to some listeners. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Chapter 1, Seconds of Chaos. The attack unfolds at approximately 8:14 p.m. A black Audi Q5 broke through a barricade on East 41st Avenue in Fraser. Eyewitnesses recall hearing a screech of tires, followed by the sickening sound of metal against flesh. The SUV barreled into the crowd without warning, striking dozens before finally coming to a halt after hitting a cement planter. People screamed, some ran for their lives, others froze in horror. Videos later showed a few brave souls rushing toward the vehicle, smashing windows in an attempt to stop the driver. Their courage likely prevented further loss of life. Within minutes, police and paramedics arrived. The suspect, 30-year-old Kaiji Adam Lau, was detained at the scene by civilians and quickly taken into custody by the Vancouver Police Department. The area was cordoned off as first responders tended to the wounded, many of whom were lying on the pavement with severe injuries. A once celebratory evening had turned into a mass casualty incident. 11 people would not survive the night. Chapter 2, Faces of the Fallen. Remembering the victims, each victim had a story lives full of meaning, relationships, and dreams that were abruptly cut short. Among them was Kira Salim, 29, a youth counselor known for her activism in mental health and LGBTQ advocacy. Kira was volunteering at a wellness booth that evening, helping young immigrants connect with therapy resources. Also lost were Richard and Lynn Lay, both in their mid-30s, along with their 5-year-old daughter Katie, who had just started kindergarten. The Lay family was beloved for their dedication to community service. Richard coached a local basketball team, while Lynn taught ESL to new immigrants. An 80-year-old elder, Lola Marina, had been dancing just minutes before the incident. She was one of the longest-standing residents of the neighborhood, a living library of Filipino folklore and history. The tragedy didn't just rob families of loved ones. It ripped through the heart of a tight-knit diaspora that prides itself on its connections. Candlelit vigils sprung up within hours. Flowers, handwritten notes, and children's drawings covered Fraser Street for days. Chapter 3, The Driver, Kaiji Lo's Troubled Past. The suspect, Kaiji Adam Lo, was known to authorities for prior incidents involving erratic behavior and mental health struggles. According to police reports and statements from neighbors, Lowe had been hospitalized several times for psychiatric reasons, most recently in early April 2025. At the time of the attack, Lowe was reportedly on day leave from a psychiatric facility. This revelation has sparked outrage and questions about oversight and accountability. Why was he allowed unsupervised release? Were there signs that were missed? Police have confirmed that Lowe's actions are not being classified as a terrorist attack. However, his motive remains unclear. While investigators have ruled out ideological extremism, they continue to probe into possible psychosis or other contributing factors. Lowe has been charged with 11 counts of second-degree murder and 32 counts of attempted murder. His legal team has requested a mental fitness hearing. The court process is expected to take months, possibly years. Chapter 4. A Nation in Mourning. The tragedy sent shockwaves across Canada. Vancouverites, Filipinos around the country, and Canadians from all backgrounds expressed heartbreak and disbelief. Prime Minister Mark Carney visited the memorial just 2 days later. Fighting back tears, he called it one of the darkest days in our multicultural history. He promised full support to victims' families, including financial aid, immigration accommodations for relatives abroad, and trauma counseling services. British Columbia Premier David Eby declared April 29th a day of mourning across the province. Flags were lowered to half-mast. At a vigil attended by over 15,000 people in Robson Square, candles lit up the night sky, symbolizing unity in the face of tragedy. From Calgary to Toronto to Montreal, Filipino associations organized memorial masses, fundraisers, and cultural tributes. The Canadian government pledged to review protocols around psychiatric patient leave, vowing this kind of oversight failure must never happen again. Chapter 5. The Filipino-Canadian Spirit. Tested, but unbroken. Filipinos in Canada, numbering close to 1 million, have always been known for their hardworking, family-oriented, and resilient nature. This event, while deeply traumatic, became a moment to showcase those very values. Churches opened their doors for 24-hour prayer. Volunteers cooked food for grieving families. Mental health professionals within the community offered free therapy sessions, especially to children who witnessed the attack. At the same time, conversations began around deeper issues, access to mental health care, the underreporting of psychological conditions within immigrant families, and the need for culturally competent support systems. Young Filipino Canadians, often caught between two worlds, took to social media with the hashtag #FraserStrong. Videos of traditional dances, spoken word tributes, and healing rituals went viral, not as distractions, but as affirmations of cultural identity and healing. Chapter 6. Moving forward from tragedy to change, though the pain remains fresh, Vancouver has begun the slow journey toward healing. A permanent memorial is planned for Fraser Street, featuring a garden, sculpture, and community center focused on mental wellness and cultural education. The families of the victims have created a joint fund, not just for legal and funeral costs, but for scholarships in the names of those lost. Katie Lay's scholarship will help children from low-income backgrounds attend preschool, fitting tribute to a child whose life had just begun. Discussions around mental health have entered the national spotlight. Policy reforms are underway, and lawmakers across Canada are being urged to invest more in community-based psychiatric services. That's all for tonight's story. Another thread in the web of true crime, quietly unraveling as the night goes on. If you're still with me, thanks for listening. And if sleep has already taken you, may your dreams be peaceful and your mind at ease. I'll be here next time by the fire with another story waiting to be told. Good night, and don't forget to lock your doors.